as with every anthem delivered by the countries from the Americas, whether it be the South or Central, is delivered with gusto and with passion as Costa Rica prepare to say farewell to Russia 2018. But before they go, they'll want to restore some pride and put a dent in Switzerland's hopes of qualifying for the last 16. Let's run you through the two teams then. And for Switzerland, two changes. In goal is Jan Sommer. Look out for the left back Ricardo Rodriguez, a dead ball specialist, particularly across free kicks. Alongside him, Manuel Akanji and Fabian Schär, the two very strong centre-halves who've been very solid for Switzerland in the build-up and the qualification for 2018. And Steven Lichtsteiner, Arsenal's new right-back, of course, plays on the right-hand side of defence. In the middle, Granit Xhaka, 5 goals for his country. 5 of his goals, should I say, for his 10 for his country have come from outside, as we saw that terrific hit against Serbia the other night. And Valon Marami is alongside him. He feels like a bit of a veteran in there now. His 82nd appearance and his 6th World Cup. Fifth appearance at the World Cup. On the left-hand side, Breel Embolo. Alongside him is Berin Jamili and Xherdan Shaqiri, who literally lit up the second half against Serbia. Hit the angle of post and bar, and then of course went on to score the winning goal. And Mario Gavranovic comes in up front in place of Haris Seferovic, who is left out of the starting 11 tonight. As for Costa Rica, 3 changes there. Keylor Navas is in goal. The back 3 of Johnny Acosta, Gonzalo Gonzalez and Kendall Waston. It's Waston who's one of those changes. Then across from right to left, a man who's very much been frozen out at Celtic in the last season, just 3 appearances for Christian Gamboa. The right wing back role for him tonight. Brian Oviedo from Sunderland, of course, is the left wing back role. He's already said he doesn't really fancy playing League One football next season. Celso Borges and David Guzman are in the centre of midfield, and on the right hand side it's Daniel Colindres. On the left hand side, supporting Joel Campbell, is Brian Ruiz. Familiar names, familiar faces. Did so well 4 years ago. They will look to redeem themselves tonight, that is for sure. The man in charge is Clement Turpin from France. It's around about 20 degrees or so in Nizhny Novgorod this evening, and the stadium certainly the Costa Rican fans, I would say, are outnumbering the Swiss fans by a fair old number. Oscar Ramirez, the Costa Rican coach, had his head shaved when they qualified. That's what he said: if we get to the World Cup, you can shave my hair off. Keylor Navas duly did the honours. Thankfully it's fully grown again now for Oscar Ramirez, the 53-year-old. And we have a VAR referee as ever tonight. We have a whole team of them, but they are led by Felix Wehr, the German. Once more this afternoon in that game between South Korea and Germany, we saw, when used properly, just what an excellent addition VAR can be. John Hartson's alongside me. The onus on Switzerland, they need a point, but it's very difficult playing for just a point, isn't it?
I think the general consensus is they're good enough to beat Costa Rica. On the evidence of the tournament so far, they've not been beaten. Point against Brazil and that all-important win against Serbia. Costa Rica, of course, will be looking, as you alluded to there, their first win. It'll be great for them to get something from the game at least. But sometimes it's difficult looking for just that draw. It's very difficult to go out and set up with that mindset.
The Swiss are all in red. They're kicking from right to left in the opening 45 minutes. It's white shirts, white shorts and dark socks for the Costa Ricans. And it's the Swiss who have got us underway on this left-hand side. And forward goes Akanji, just trying to put a ball in towards Xherdan Shaqiri. Couldn't quite find him on this occasion, and the ball picked up in the middle of the park by Granit Xhaka. And Switzerland having the early possession, over halfway inside the Costa Rican half. Ball picked up on this left-hand side and driven forward once more towards the edge of the penalty area by Breel Embolo. And there's a foul, and that's going to be the first free kick of the game, and it goes Switzerland's way, 10 yards outside the penalty area.
Well, Moses should know better than this. He's got Shaqiri on the ball now straight away, looking to get into the game early, and he gives a daft free kick away there. No need at all to make that tackle, and you've got Shaqiri now will get an early strike on goal.
114th cap tonight for Celso Borges, so he certainly has the experience. He was the 7th Costa Rican to reach 100 caps in their history. Played all 5 games in the 2014 World Cup, when of course they were so impressive in reaching the quarter-finals before being defeated by Holland. It's not been so good this time round with so many similar players. 11 from that quarter-final appearance in 2014 are in that squad, despite us being 4 years off. Here's the free kick for Shaqiri then, just to the left of the D, probably about 30 yards out from goal. So you won't expect this on target, but you'll certainly expect it to be driven in, and it is. It's driven in low, and he's trying to find the outstretched boot of Mario Gavranovic to divert that ball goalwards, because his run hadn't been picked up, but he fails to make contact, and it's a goal kick for Costa Rica.
That is really clever there from Shaqiri. He sort of just, it wasn't a shot, it was a really firm sort of cross, wasn't it? Really hit with power. Surprised actually he didn't shoot.
Out wide on the right-hand side for Costa Rica as they enjoy a first bit of possession is Joel Campbell, and there's plenty of room down that left-hand side to provide Oviedo with an opportunity. Ball swung into the penalty area, too much on it, straight out of play, and that will be a goal kick away to our right-hand side for Jan Sommer. Made 11 appearances in the qualifying campaign for Switzerland, 8 clean sheets as well. Also kept 3 in Euro 2016 for Switzerland, so he's used to doing the business in these big tournaments. Yet to manage it so far, of course, here in Russia. Now down the left-hand side, they managed to pick out the advanced run of Mbolo into Gavranovic again. And the ball moves to the left-hand side for Costa Rica to pick up, and at the feet this time of Rostam. Forward and over halfway, and a little layoff by that time. I think it was Colindres that just tried to get on the end of it. And the ball spins out of play, and it's a throw for Switzerland, who started brightly. 3 minutes gone in Nizhny Novgorod on TalkSport 2. 0-0. Remember, the emphasis very much on the two sides. Brazil and Switzerland wins for both of those. Well, that's job done. Down the right-hand side, here comes Shaqiri, and he does well because he gets to the ball and keeps it in play on that far side. Oviedo's gone back with the ball. Shaqiri through his legs inside the penalty area. First chance for Gavranovic, and his shot is blocked from around about 8 yards out, and it's out of play on the far side for a throw to Costa Rica.
Great play from Shaqiri. Got one thing in his mind. Gavranovic just can't quite. Actually, the defender gets across and blocks it really well. Gonzalez for Costa Rica. A good play again from Switzerland's top man there, Shaqiri.
4 World Cup goals to his name. Of course, that goal against Serbia, as we mentioned, Xherdan Shaqiri at times turned it on for Stoke, but at times never really did. Here's Brown Ruiz out wide to the right-hand side for Campbell. Costa Rica on the attack into the penalty area. Campbell doing what he can do, running with the ball at feet, and he pops it into the 6-yard box, where it's dealt with this time by Fabian Schär, I think, who got back to do the defending. It may well actually have been Granit Xhaka. I think there's a little bit of frustration from Jan Sommer, who would have easily claimed that ball.
Yeah, well, he would, and that's exactly what Costa Rica have wanted, you know, young Campbell to get on the ball early and cause problems. His little sight nerve has hit his hand. Just see it there. No, I'm quite sure. No VAR involved on that one.
No, certainly not. It was a little brush that time off the hand of Ricardo Rodriguez, but nothing doing in terms of VAR. We almost had 5 minutes on TalkSport 2. It's 0-0, and that's sloppy from Xhaka, giving the ball away midway inside his own half to Costa Rica. And Brian Ruiz always likes to look busy. A lovely bit of skill from Ruiz, just takes him away from Mbolo, and they try to drive it forward again from the central positions by Borges and by Guzman, and in the end Campbell does the work to win it at the edge of the penalty area, and he unleashes a left foot shot which forces the first save from Sommer out wide to his right hand side. He punches it away. The ball's still up there though for Costa Rica. Free header. Oh, terrific save onto the post again from Sommer. He denies Borges from around about 8 yards out. It's a wonderful cross and a decent header, and Sommer more than up to the task, and he's going to have to try and gather this as well as it's played back into the penalty area again. Comes to the edge of the box on the left foot once more, the driven shot, and Sommer has to make the save from Gamboa as he drives that in with his left foot. Wow, Sommer the busy man here, and he's been up to the task each time.
Well, it's been lively the first half. We saw Shaqiri going through, and and it was Gavranovic who missed for the Swiss, and then Costa Rica, there was Campbell and then Borges, both 2 decent efforts, and Sommer keeping them both out. Great start.
That's a terrific save from that header, isn't it? Onto the post.
One-handed save, right hand onto the post. Great header though as well from Borges.
Family of goalkeepers Sommer comes from. 29 years of age. Borussia Mönchengladbach is the place where he's been plying his trade as that first choice keeper. Terrific stops early on in this game to deny Costa Rica, and as we mentioned before, we talked about the fact that you would underestimate them at your peril. Well, that's why. Yet to score a goal in this tournament, but they have that threat, and now they are playing without any shackles. Plenty of freedom here. Borges again, out wide to the right. Here's Ruiz. Infield he goes again to Borges. Campbell onto Ruiz, who makes the run towards the edge of the penalty area. Comes to Ruiz again. Edge of the box, there's room out wide on the left-hand side. If he sees him, he doesn't. He goes for goal, and he puts it over the bar. Daniel Colindres, well, he had a wonderful option out wide to his left-hand side, but the first thought of the number 9, as for all number 9s, is to go for goal, but he didn't hit the target.
They started brilliantly, I have to say, Costa Rica. This time it's Colindres. We're just watching the Campbell shot there. Great save again, two-handed save from Sommer in the goal for the Swiss. Colindres there. Well, we had four shots from Costa Rica in the opening 7 minutes. A really, really positive start.
This is the kind of form they showed 4 years ago in Brazil, where they really were the surprise package of that World Cup. Ruiz on halfway again, getting heavily involved. He's had a fairly wretched season as Brian Ruiz. Seems to follow him round at this moment in time. Down that right-hand side, Switzerland now try to get some possession of the ball. Borges picks it up again in the middle of the park, onto Ruiz again inside the centre circle. He's got the attention of two, and that's probably no great surprise. And he's fouled from behind by Ricardo Rodriguez. And I think Switzerland do a little rattle here. It's a free kick to Costa Rica in the centre circle.
I think they are rattled. I didn't quite think they believed that Costa Rica could come out and dominate the first 8 minutes of play, have 3 or 4 efforts on their goal, look very comfortable in possession. So it's certainly Costa Rica have got that lion's share of possession early on. They've got the foothold in these opening minutes.
They certainly have. Scored 2 goals in that 2014 World Cup, Brian Ruiz. It was a really terrific time for him in that respect, but just 5 goals in his last 2 years at Sporting. That's been the problem for him there. It's not hitting the target regularly. It's thrown on this near side, which goes the way of Costa Rica, much to the frustrations of the Swiss, and in particular on that occasion the frustration of Shimili. On halfway, Costa Rica in possession again, and that's been the story of the opening 9 minutes here on TalkSport 2. It's 0-0, but it's Costa Rica in the ascendancy so far. What can the Swiss do this time to try and drive themselves forward? Trying to make some room was Gavranovic again on halfway, but not quite able to. Ball goes out of play, and it's going to be Switzerland who have possession inside their own half. A reminder, they need a point inside the centre circle. Here's Zerdan Shaqiri, just gives possession away on that far side, and here come Costa Rica again, and it's Colindres down that left hand side into the penalty area on his right foot. Oh, it's hit the crossbar, the underside of it as well, and has bounced down. And Daniel Colindres with a wonderful effort, keeper bit, and all ends up, and it comes off the underside of the bar but doesn't cross the line. Costa Rica again doing all the work, and immediately Switzerland are away up the other end here. Gavranovic is just muscled off the ball, and it's easily picked up on halfway once more. Down to the right hand side is Campbell. Campbell's coming forward towards the edge of the box, and Campbell gives possession away.
Oh, what an effort again from Colindres. He cuts in onto his left foot. Sommer's beaten, all ends up in the Swiss goal, and it hits the underside of the crossbar and comes down. Obviously not over the line, but what an effort again. But Costa Rica well on top in this game so far.
Their 5th World Cup, their 3rd one out of the last 4. I think everyone goes back to 1990, their first ever match when they beat Scotland. Happy memories for Costa Rica. And despite being out of the competition and with nothing to play for apart from pride, well, I think they're probably showing that pride as Switzerland come on the attack here with Rodriguez down this left-hand side. Switzerland have a player down. Now, interestingly enough, he did go down in Bolo, and Switzerland carried on with their attack. The moment they've lost possession, they asked for play to be stopped.
Yeah, that's Gamboa. They're going in late on Mbola. No action taken from the referee, but Switzerland have to try and get some possession of their own here, because it's Costa Rica that have totally dominated in the first 10 minutes, and Switzerland with Jameli, Mbola, Shaqiri needs to drop in and just give them that little extra man they need in the middle of the park.
Well, we're finally just seeing a replay of that effort from Daniel Corindez. Bounce down at a couple of yards off the goal line. Keeper bit and all ends up. It's a wonderful effort from the tight angle.
Sommer's only 3 or 4 feet off his line, but he's got it up and down. So unfortunate to at the underside of the crossbar, and it hammers down, hits it with power and precision. Really, really lively start from Costa Rica. I don't think the Swiss expected anything like this.
Colindra's only had 35 minutes of competitive World Cup qualifying football. 2 appearances he made off the subs bench, and now he's only 2 competitive caps prior to tonight. And already we've seen a couple of efforts from him. The last one in particular. First one over the bar, second one's hit the bar. Maybe third time lucky.
Probably can't believe they're not in front. Probably cannot believe the amount of efforts they've had. Decent strike from Campbell. Borges with a wonderful header that was tipped onto the post. And again, Colindra's there hitting the underside of the crossbar.
Jan Sommer doing the job here. No surprise. It's been a decent number 1 for Switzerland. Down the right hand side, here they come again. Ball into the box. It finds Gavranovic, but his header across from the penalty spot. Can't find another red shirt. They do well to recycle possession here though. Pushed out wide to the right hand side by Xhaka. Just trying to get forward. That time was Lichtsteiner. But doing some defensive work this time is Daniel Colindres, and he wins his side a throw on the far side. 13 minutes in, 0-0 somehow. I'm not sure how. Brilliant stuff from Costa Rica so far. Throw in to be taken on that left hand side. Up towards Oviedo. Campbell tries to win it on halfway, but shepherded back by Switzerland. And it's picked up on this near side by Akanji, courtesy of Shah. And it's short to Granit Xhaka. It won't surprise you that Granit Xhaka hit the most passes of anybody in European World Cup qualifying. Just the 935. It was about 150 more than anybody else. No comments about whether they were sideways or backwards, of course. But that's into the penalty area. And Bolo's trying to get there. Navas comes out and punches incredibly well. And he punches up towards halfway, but I think in the process he's taken out his own player here. Christian Gamboa is down. And Navas just lifting his body up to try and deal with, I think, the winding that he suffered, as he has absolutely been flattened there by Keylor Navas.
Yeah, it's Navas has come out and he's just caught Gamboa with his elbow, the sharp of his elbow. Gamboa was up on his feet anyway, so no damage done there.
Navas, of course, really kind of sprung to fame in 2014. He got his move to Real Madrid off the back of his performance in that World Cup. I think the stats were amazing. I think he saved something like 21 of 23 shots throughout the 2014 World Cup.
Yeah, top class. He was excellent as well in the 1-0 defeat against Serbia. He kept Costa Rica in the game for long periods.
And yet, he's often criticised at Real Madrid.
Well, who'd be a goalkeeper?
Well, not bad though when you're a goalkeeper who's just won 3 Champions Leagues in a row. Here's Xhaka. He's, of course, the star of this Costa Rican side. Out wide on the left-hand side is Ricardo Rodriguez. Tries to feed a ball in towards Shaqiri at the edge of the penalty area, but they've won a throw on the left-hand side.
Yeah, it just all looks a little bit rushed and forced at the minute by the Swiss. They get on the ball and they just give it away. Costa Ricans, they're closing them down, they're hunting in packs. Switzerland just need to settle with a little spell in possession of their own.
And as they do that with the ball at the feet of the captain, Lichtsteiner, he immediately gives the ball away on the far side and concedes the throw to Costa Rica again from about 20 yards inside their own half. It's going to be taken by Roston. And up that far side, he'll be looking for Oviedo. Moving over to join in is David Guzman as well. They look to try and gain some territorial advantage. Decent throw as well, but too easy, and picked up at the back quite comfortably by Shah. And Switzerland have possession. Quarter of an hour gone on TalkSport 2, your home of the World Cup. It's Switzerland 0, Costa Rica 0, but it's been all Costa Rica in terms of chances and goal-mouth efforts if you've just joined us. And one of the Costa Ricans are making the noise here inside Nizhny Novgorod. Inside this wonderful stadium, one of the last ones to be opened. 18 million rubles it cost. Here's Shaqiri on one of those trademark runs towards the edge of the penalty area. Right-footed shot driven in and wide of Navas's left hand upright by Gavranovic. Picked it up nicely. He's looking keen. He's probably looking the livelier of the Swiss front line right now alongside Shaqiri, but never troubling Navas.
No, always looked as if it was going wide, but you know, from Garanovic's point of view, he's got an early strike in early in the game. He took it nicely, set it up on his right foot, but I felt it was always going wide of the goalkeeper.
Almost 17 minutes played, 0-0. Reminder, a point is good enough for Switzerland, and almost looks like they've set up with that in mind so far. Costa Rica by far the better side. Shaqiri with the ball inside his own half, always dangerous, just drops that ball into Valon Berami, then to Shah, and they look to build from the back here. Vladimir Petkovic, the Croatian, 54 years of age, he's the man in charge of this Swiss side, midway through qualifying. Actually gave him a brand new 3-year contract because 2 or 3 clubs had been in touch with the Swiss FA wanting to poach him based on their performance in qualifying and what they managed to achieve in Euro 2016. A lot of faith shown in him. And at this moment in time, the way things are, they'll be into the last 16. Throw down the line this time for Costa Rica into Campbell. Just not quite winning those balls in the Swiss half that they were 5 or 6 minutes ago. Quite comfortable at the back now for Shah. He goes to the right where he finds Lichtsteiner again. 34 years of age, his 103rd cap tonight. Lichtsteiner captains this side. Obviously will join Arsenal. Plays in the same position as Hector Bellerin. You get the impression he's joining to provide a little bit of nous and a bit of steel to that back line.
Yeah, well, he's 34 now, Lichtsteiner, and Hector Bellerin, you know, you thought he'd had that right back position. I can't see him playing anywhere other than, you know, along that back four. So, you know, his experience and, you know, maybe that's why as well he might not appreciate maybe playing every game for Arsenal, but having somebody around the dressing room with Lichtsteiner's experience, especially in recent years, all the success he's had at Juventus.
The cheers from the Costa Rican fans because they're on the attack again. Out wide to the left-hand side is another drilled effort. This time it's from Oviedo. A really tight angle. Not too sure why he took the shot on. It's all across the face of goal. It was probably just about going to edge into the near post, and it had to be saved again by Jan Sommer.
Great strike from Oviedo. Sommer gets down and just gets his fingertips and pushes it around the post. How many opportunities are Costa Rica going to have? But they cannot believe they've not taken the lead. Sommer's keeping the Swiss in it.
Well, they found Sommer on a good night, it would appear. Campbell swings that one in towards the back post. He gathers it well. Sommer, that's a terrific take around the edge of his 6-yard box and just about stays in play. I wonder whether he thought Oviedo was going to shoot and whether actually he may well have been trying to play a ball into the box, but it was certainly on target.
Yeah, it's one of them. He cuts in from the left-hand side with that really good left foot. He's playing left sort of wing-back Oviedo for Costa Rica. He cuts inside and hits it with his left foot. Just hits it really well with his laces. Sommer got down and he just gets his fingertips to it around his far left-hand post. Great save again.
We've had 20 minutes on TalkSport 2. Switzerland 0, Costa Rica 0. Final group games, of course, tomorrow. And then the last 16 will be complete. If you've, been somewhere this afternoon and not maybe checked any social media, had a radio on or been near a telly, the big news of the day, of course, is the departure from the World Cup of the defending champions. Germany beaten by South Korea by 2-0. Sweden beat Mexico earlier this afternoon as well. So the Swedes win the group. Mexico comes second, and just to rub it in, not only are they out the World Cup, but they finished bottom of their group as well.
You know, poor from Germany. Nobody could have called that.
Will Brazil go the same way? It's 0-0 in the game between Serbia and Brazil in Moscow right now. So as things stand, it will be Brazil and Switzerland that will go through. Here on the left-hand side again is Ricardo Rodriguez for Switzerland. Up to halfway by Barami, but it's picked out by Gamboa, who just lobs it on the volley into the centre circle. Then it's given away again on this right-hand side too easily by Jamili. And now an opportunity again for Costa Rica down the left. That's where they're getting most of their breaks and their luck right now. Colindres gets it across the face of goal, but it's into the arms of Jan Sommer. Bit of a soft one as it dribbled inside his 6-yard area.
You really can't, overemphasise the importance of a top class goalkeeper within your ranks. Without Sommer, Costa Rica are 2-0 up now already in 20 minutes. He's made 2 unbelievable saves.
There's a foul there, and this one's on Brelembolo. One of the changes for Switzerland tonight. The change has not really worked out so far. Not really gelling, giving the ball away too easily. Not really at the moment creating any opportunities.
No, they've not had one effort on goal yet of Switzerland. It's been all Costa Rica. As I mentioned, the likes of Xhaka, Jamili, Shaqiri may just need to drop into midfield just to be an extra body in there for Switzerland to give them more of an option to get hold of the ball. But Costa Rica, what worries me slightly by having all these opportunities and all these chances, and the goalkeeper Sommer playing so well, you've not taken the lead. You've got to take these opportunities when they come around.
Away to our right hand side is that man who is the star of the show so far, Sommer at the edge of his penalty area. The midway point of the first half on TalkSport 2. It's 0-0. Tomorrow, of course, here on TalkSport 2 we will have games for you from those final 2 groups. Tomorrow afternoon, Senegal and Colombia meet over on TalkSport, while Poland and Japan will go head-to-head here on TalkSport 2. And then tomorrow evening, of course, England are in action against Belgium on TalkSport. And I believe the man alongside me has the pleasure of Tunisia against Panama tomorrow evening.
That's a proper dead rubber, that one.
Well, it could be, but Panama, first World Cup, looking for their first win ever in a World Cup. It's a lovely story.
There's always something, in terms of to play for. It's the World Cup.
Oh, it's 3-on-2 here for Costa Rica. It's Campbell inside the penalty area. Chance to shoot again, and he does with his right foot this time. And that was the problem, I think, for Daniel Colindres. He just tried to shift it onto his right foot, and it allowed an opportunity for Akanji to get back and block the effort on goal and concede the corner.
Well, they're all over the shop, Switzerland. Midfield and defence, they're not tracking runners. They're letting people run off their shoulders. They're not getting back goal side. And another opportunity there for Costa Rica to score.
That one's lifted in towards the back post. Can't quite keep it in as he tried to come round the back on that occasion. Celso Borges, it was overhit and it goes out of play for a goal kick for Switzerland. They were a little bit like this early on against Serbia. They really took a while to get themselves going. I thought that was the kind of game that really ebbed and flowed between the two of them.
Yeah, well, I don't think they can afford to, if they are going to progress in the tournament, to start too many games as badly as they've started this one. Because a lot of other teams, would put them to the sword with an early goal by now.
Here's Shaqiri on the run from halfway down that right hand side for Switzerland, puts it out to Lichtsteiner, who gets the ball over, but he's blocked off in his path, and that's going to be a corner courtesy of some decent defending by Brian Oviedo.
Oviedo gets back. Has he given the corner? Yes, he's given the corner.
Well, and on the way back afterwards, Oviedo, I think, just rubbed the hair of Lichtsteiner, who's saying it was more of a slap around the back of the head. There was certainly nothing offensive in it. I think it was that he was on the floor waiting to get up.
That's more than rubbing up the hair. He's actually given him a little whack on the top of his head, but he's apologising now to Lichtsteiner, but Lichtsteiner wasn't happy with that.
No, he's not, and Oviedo's laughing about it as if to say, what's his problem?
Exactly, they got the corner anyway, Switzerland.
Well, they won't be seeing each other in the Premier League next year. With Oviedo tucked down in League One, I don't think they're going to come head to head at some point. 25 minutes played on TalkSport 2. Switzerland 0, Costa Rica 0. Corner swung over. Navas could have caught that. Chose to punch instead inside his 6-yard area. Gets it up towards halfway. And Lichtsteiner's there on the far side. And the ball is kept in play. And Costa Rica have it on halfway.
Navas might tell you then he was looking to start an attack off, maybe.
I think he probably was.
Yeah.
Certainly he was trying to set the pace away this time
Because
on that far
he
side.
could have easily have just, caught that ball quite comfortable.
And we know some don't like to catch, do they? Some will punch at everything.
I can see when they want to punch it, the balls move around a lot, but when it's just a little dip in corner into your arms, there's no excuses for not just catching that one. They catch 100, 200 of these every day in training.
Oviedo falls back towards halfway for Costa Rica, where he finds Waston. Waston will go all the way back to Navas, away to our left-hand side. Waston coming into the starting 11 today, scored a couple of goals in qualifying. In fact, he scored the goal that secured their place at this World Cup. He was included in the 30 for 2014, but Waston was left out of the final 23, so a bit of redemption for him this time round. And he has possession courtesy of Navas at the edge of his own penalty area. Plays his football for the Vancouver Whitecaps. Headed forward by Oviedo after a decent ball out by Navas. Lovely little layback that time again by Colindres on that far side. It then looks for Oviedo to continue the run as he nips the ball down the line into space, but Oviedo haven't moved. There's applause from Oscar Ramirez because he liked the idea, and of the two coaches he must be the happier man. It's 0-0 after 27 minutes.
He will be. We see Swiss there with the more possession, but in terms of efforts on goal, Costa Rica have looked very, very dangerous, and they should be in front, shouldn't they?
They're doing nothing with it, Switzerland, are they? They have possession again. As we said, they've had lots of it. Here is Ricardo Rodriguez coming forward. The first season for him at AC Milan for Rodriguez. Looks it short, where it's picked up again by Akanji in the heart of that midfield. Another one of the contingent who play their football in Germany. 10 of them in the Switzerland squad play their football in the Bundesliga. Akanji for Borussia Dortmund. 6'2" of him, playing in the Champions League as well. He's 10th cap today. A newbie in this squad as that ball's launched forward towards Shaqiri at the edge of the penalty area by Rodriguez, but Oviedo's checked his run and nods it down into the path of Navas. These changes that Costa Rica have made today, the pace of Colindres, he's clearly seen something in this Swiss side that he feels he can exploit, and primarily it seems to be the lack of pace in Lichtsteiner.
Yeah, and when they go forward, Costa Rica, they almost go to a 3 up top with Colindres on the left. Ruiz just plays in and around Campbell. Campbell was a threat, has been a threat all game really, a couple of efforts on goal, but Switzerland have come out with a little bit of a mindset for me that they might just be a little bit over-reliant on Brazil getting the win. That's the way they seem to have started, a little bit sloppy. No efforts on goal yet after half an hour, not one attempt on goal from Switzerland, and it's been all Costa Rica.
First yellow card, I think it's gone the way here of Gonzalez, and it looks like for an outstretched arm. We shall wait. Maybe it's been Joel Campbell that's been booked actually. Akanji's gone down and here's an elbow into the jaw from Joel Campbell on Akanji as he stretched his arm out. First booking of the game from the referee, and a free kick to Switzerland 10 yards inside the Costa Rican half, should I say.
Yeah, Campbell certainly catches Akanji there, but it's unintentional. He looks to get his arm across Akanji just to get a little bit of leverage, if you like, and he catches him accidentally with his elbow, but he's gone in the book for it anyway, but there's no more than that.
Words from Vladimir Petkovic to Embolo and a few others as they prepare to take this free kick. Campbell still getting a talking to from the referee. Campbell obviously saying I didn't do it deliberately, but he's been booked. And we've had almost half an hour here on TalkSport 2. It's Switzerland 0, Costa Rica 0, and it's still Serbia 0, Brazil 0 in Moscow. They've lost Marcelo as well. Not bad when we can bring Felipe Luis on as a replacement for Brazil. But Marcelo has limped out of that game against Serbia. Shaqiri on the far side, just trying to flick a ball down the line. Oviedo's across. Remind you can hear it on TalkSport with Ian Danter and Matt Holland in Moscow. On that far side, Oviedo just touches that ball in. Barami picks it up. He's almost been anonymous in this game so far, Barami. Point John made about that midfield not getting a grip on the game. Lichtsteiner's forward here down the right. Decent cross in and Bolo knocks it down! And easily finished from the edge of the 6-yard area with power and pace from Jamili. And Switzerland have the lead. They scarcely deserve it. They've been outplayed in the opening half an hour by Costa Rica. who haven't taken their chances, and with venom, Brahim Jamili puts that ball into the corner, and it's Switzerland 1, Costa Rica 0.
Well, against the run of play, it's Switzerland that take the lead. All them opportunities I said a few minutes ago, Costa Rica needed to take one of them. It's a great goal, though, I have to say. It's played out wide from Shaqiri to Lichtsteiner. It's played into the box, and Bowler gets the header, and Jamili smashes it in from just outside the 6-yard box. Nice bit of quality, beautiful ball in, good header back from Bowler. Jamili can't miss from there. Hits it, keeps it low.
I'll say it's a good job that Navas didn't get in the way of that, because he'd have been fighting himself in the back of the net. Interesting, it's taken a little deflection, hasn't it?
Yeah, but it's almost 6 or 7 yards out. You hit the target there predominantly, they go in. But it's good from Switzerland. They've obviously responded very well. Very lucky of they're very thankful to their goalkeeper Sommer that they're not behind, but a good response from Switzerland.
Well, I think if you thought Harry Kane struck his penalties with some venom, that effort there from Jamili, and it's in the back of the net, and somehow Switzerland are in front here. I'm not too sure how that's happened, but what it means as things stand is they would win the group, and if they win the group, they'll take on Mexico in Samara on July the 2nd, 3 o'clock kickoff for that one. And that would leave, as things stand, Brazil taking on Sweden on July the 3rd in St. Petersburg. And, well, I'm not too sure that Brazil wouldn't quite fancy that rather than Mexico.
No, I agree actually. I think, but you say that Switzerland have had Sweden have actually did very well, haven't they?
Lichtsteiner early ball in here, edge of the box, another chance for Jamili from around about 14 yards, and his shot this time is blocked successfully by Gonzalez, and it's going to be a corner for Switzerland, who all of a sudden have come to life in this game.
Yeah, Jamali again, Gonzalez getting across with a decent block. Switzerland just trying to turn the screw a little bit now, playing with a little bit more confidence, having taken the lead.
Jamili come to life a little bit now. It looks like after that opening burst from Costa Rica, they seem a little crestfallen. Second corner of the game for Switzerland. 33 minutes played, they lead by a goal to nil. Left-footed ball swung over that time by Rodriguez, and away from the edge of his own penalty area, trying to bring it forward with some pace and tempo was Gamboa, but he's fouled in the process, and that was by Shah on his way back to defend the situation, and it's a free kick for Switzerland about 10 yards outside their own box.
I think it's been a bit harsh on Costa Rica, I have to say. No goals win your games and you take your chances, but the amount of opportunities Costa Rica had in the first 15-20 minutes, someone made 2 great saves, they hit the post, hit the bar, just couldn't quite get the ball in the net, and Switzerland respond almost with their first effort on Costa Rica's goal, and they score. Jamili puts them 1-0 up. Little bit cruel on Costa Rica, but it's the World Cup, no sentiment involved.
I think Oscar Ramirez is feeling it's a little bit cruel right now, stood down in his technical area here in the stadium in Nizhny Novgorod. Here comes Switzerland again, taken down on the chest by Mbolo. Xhaka out wide to the left-hand side where Ricardo Rodriguez is waiting towards the edge of the penalty area. Left-footed ball swung over, decent cross, and Navas has to come out and take that off the head that time of Gavranovic. There's a problem here for Shaqiri, who's down, has been for a while, but again Switzerland continued their attack while Shaqiri was on the ground, and then once they've lost the ball they want him getting some treatment. I don't like that.
Shaqiri just gets a knee in his sort of hamstring area. It's a knee from Watson into Shaqiri, unintentional. I think Shaqiri's holding the back. You just hope that's not affected his hamstring.
But John, if you've got possession and you're that worried about your man, you put the ball out of play, don't you? You don't wait till you lose it and then demand it.
Exactly right. You put it out to play, to let your player have treatment. I'm sure if it was the opposition, you'd want the ball back.
Well, I don't know why they keep doing it quite like that. There's been a goal in the game in Moscow between Serbia and Brazil. Paulinho has put Brazil in front after 35 minutes. So we go back to the original scenario where Brazil will win the group ahead of Switzerland as things stand. And Paulinho, fairly route one for Brazil for a change. And Paulinho has scored. They lead by a goal to nil. Back here, Switzerland have possession inside their own penalty area. I don't know what Shah's doing, but he stood there with the ball, and all of a sudden he had 4 white shirts beginning to converge on him, and eventually he shows some urgency, puts the ball out on this near side. Shamili does well just to cut that ball back in field, but it's come to Colin Drez on that far side, who's fouled, and he says, look at the mark on my leg from that kick from Lichtsteiner, and Lichtsteiner's busy showing his thigh to the referee as well, saying, look at the mark I've got on my thigh from him. And all of a sudden, I'm not too sure what mark he's got on his thigh from him, because that's a raking of the studs down the side of his shin. And Lichtsteiner's getting booked for that.
He's going in the book, yeah.
And he misses the next game.
Oh, that's a blow. That is a blow for Switzerland if they can get through.
And he picked up a yellow against Brazil in the opening game.
He's very lucky here. I've got to say, he's lucky here because his stud's along Calindra's shin, if you like. You can see the stud marks. Actually, he's rolled his socks down. So maybe if the referee had gone to VAR there, I think Lichtsteiner is a very lucky boy just to get away with the yellow.
He'll miss the last 16 games should Switzerland qualify. Second yellow card of the competition for Lichtsteiner. That's round the back to Waston, who arrives but can't quite get there. The ball's gone all the way out of play. He can't have been far away from getting on the end of that Waston. He made a charge round the back as it was lifted into the box. Oh, and he's within inches.
He's inches away, yeah. Nobody tracks him. Nobody tracks his run. It's a long ball in around the back of the Swiss defence. But Watson just can't quite get his toe to it.
7.5 minutes remaining. First half on TalkSport 2. Switzerland 1, Costa Rica 0. So as things stand, Brazil with a slightly better goal difference, head Group E. That's as things stand. As I mentioned, the winners of the group will play Mexico. Whoever comes second will play Sweden. Still time though for Serbia against Brazil, and of course here for Costa Rica, who've been the better side by far. Shaqiri, poor clearance that time from Navas. Shaqiri has it on the right hand side. He's 30 yards from goal, into the box. Zamini tries to turn, lovely bit of skill, gets it across the edge of the 6-yard box, but only straight to the feet that time of Giancarlo Gonzalez, and they managed to get it clear, Costa Rica, but lovely touch that time from Zamini. And now here come Costa Rica on the far side, but the ball just is played too far ahead, and Akanji can pick it up, and now Lichtsteiner on a charge again through the centre. Lichtsteiner tries a left-footed shot, but it's blocked by Waston. And now on the right-hand side again, it's with Barami, and Switzerland coming in waves. Shaqiri level with the edge of the box, right-hand side on that left foot of his. He's got the support of Lichtsteiner short, and he chips that one down the line as Shaqiri's continued his run. Shaqiri to the byline, and as he heads goalwards, he's cut off in his prime by Johnny Costa, and it's out of plan behind for another corner.
That's really good play from Switzerland, especially down that right-hand side. Shaqiri and Lichtsteiner playing nice little 1-2s, quality. Shaqiri, nice touch, cultured touch, looking to pose his own threat on this game. Always the threat.
Much better all in all so far from Switzerland. They have the goal advantage and certainly are playing much better now as Shaqiri gets that into Jamini, who gets the flick on it. Ibolo at the back post tries to turn it round, but in the end it just deflects off him and out of play for a goal kick to Costa Rica away to our left hand side, which Navas has taken really quickly here because he saw a 2-on-2 situation for Campbell and for Colin Drez, but they're unable to take advantage of it. Back came Barami to help out, and away to our left hand side. Possession is with Navas once more. 5.5 minutes remaining here. The goal scored by Jamili in 31 minutes is what separates the two sides here on TalkSport 2. Two more groups come to a close tomorrow, and lo and behold, on Friday there's no football, John.
What are we going to do?
I don't know. I'm quite alarmed. I might have to talk to the wife.
The kids break up as well. My children break up in Scotland on today, actually.
Already?
I've got 6 weeks now. 6 weeks? Good God.
Inside the centre circle, forward towards Ruiz, but they couldn't get there. Costa Rica blocked off and then easily swept up at the back by Ricardo Rodriguez, and now it's at the feet of Shah to Lichtsteiner, the captain, on that far side, who will miss the last 16 tie. I expect the armband may well find its way to a Shaqiri or a Barami maybe, or a Xhaka, actually I think is the vice captain. Out wide on this left hand side, Rodriguez again, 10 yards short of halfway for Switzerland, all in red, playing from right to left. and looking to come forward. Xhaka with a very simple ball infield to Valon Barami, who's got about 20-30 yards of space to play within. Now down the right hand side, Lichtsteiner's coming again, chips the ball in towards the edge of the penalty area, and Bolo's there and just nods it down into the path of Rodriguez, but it was maybe half a yard behind him, and in the end the ball is given away once more by Costa Rica on halfway, and Switzerland have the throw, and they are very much in the ascendancy.
That was a good attack. It's Lichtsteiner with a long crossfield pass into a ball. Rodriguez made a great run from midfield, and all Mbolo's got to do was head it into his path, and Rodriguez was in. Instead he headed it behind Rodriguez, and he had to just check his run.
Switzerland in front here, Brazil in front in Moscow. It's as you were in Group E. Oh, lovely ball through to Campbell. Campbell then slips it through to Bolenjo's at the edge of the box, tries to get it back across here to Borges. Borges tries to keep it in, he does, and then it's nodded out of Sommer's hands, but actually I don't think Borges got there, is the view of the assistant on this near side, and it's out of play for what will be a goal kick.
Yeah, Borges, he broke when Campbell, if Campbell just looks over his shoulder, he sees him. Instead it goes wide to Calindras, and in the end it's just a little bit slow and ponderous to build up. But he was certainly in, wasn't he? Campbell only got to look over his shoulder and he sees the run on his right hand side.
John, why are they leaving themselves 2-on-2 time and time again?
Switzerland. Yeah. I can't understand it. You see it there, the full-backs are pushed right on.
I don't understand why time and time again they are leaving themselves here open. We've had a 3-on-3, we've had a 2-on-2. They lead by a goal to nil. The last thing they need to do is concede against Costa Rica. You can probably see the confidence grow in this Costa Rican side, who had so many opportunities early on. Under the cosh now though, trailed by a goal to nil, 2.5 minutes remaining, and Bolo away down the left hand side, edge of the box on the left. Shaqiri's making a run into the middle, but the ball is into the arms of Navas at the edge of his 6-yard box and comfortably gathered.
Yeah, good break from Switzerland, and Bolo will expect a little bit more quality from him when he's got time on that left foot. He plays it straight into Navas's hands, a bit wasteful.
Edge of the centre circle, picked up by Ruiz, out wide to Waston, who will come towards halfway. Final 2 minutes of the first half here on TalkSport 2. It's World Cup live, and Switzerland lead Costa Rica by a goal to nil. Over on TalkSport, it's Serbia 0, Brazil 1 in Moscow, as Campbell picks up the ball 10 yards inside the Switzerland half for Costa Rica again. Well, now they've got 3 coming forward here, but plenty of white shirts around them. Jamili, though, will go to the right-hand edge of the penalty area, then gets the ball back, courtesy allocation of Granit Xhaka, but nothing doing, and I think he may have had a little foul on that far side on Lichtsteiner, which the referee's waved away. Daniel Colindres with the challenge. Switzerland have it again inside Costa Rica's territory with Xhaka to halfway, where it's picked up again by Akanji, and now an opportunity for Shah. Game just slowed down to walking pace as he picks out Rodriguez on this left hand side, now level with a penalty spot, and Bolo ball into the box. There's 2 trying to converge on it. In the end it's the white shirts that get there first, and really decent pressure that time from Gavranovic, but the ball goes out of play, and it will only be a goal kick for Costa Rica. Last minute of the first half, Switzerland leading by a goal to nil.
You just wonder there, you mentioned Lichtsteiner and Rodriguez, they bomb forward, almost play like wingers, but that's fine when you've got 3 at the back, but when you're playing a 4 you can't quite leave the back two centre-halves isolated like they've been, and giving Costa Rica the opportunity to break.
Well, both Lichtsteiner and Rodriguez contributed 3 goals each during World Cup qualifying, so they certainly like to contribute further forward.
It's very brave, it's attack-minded, but it can also look quite naive when the opposition have a threat on the counter-attack.
If they do qualify, it'll be the 7th time in 11 World Cups that they've got through to the last 16. Switzerland, they've managed it on 4 of the last 5, and they're in here again inside the penalty area, and it takes an intervention by Waston to deny Gavranovic and Mbolo down this left-hand side, who were both trying to get on the end of this bouncing ball in the box.
So Shaqiri again, he comes to Shaqiri, all the room in the world, he gets on the half turn, he spins and he dinks a nice little lobbed left foot ball, which in between Navas and the Costa Rican defenders. He's got that little bit of quality to play them balls in behind the Costa Rican defence.
A minute of stoppage time here on TalkSport 2. Switzerland 1, Costa Rica 0. Left-footed, the ball delivered by Rodriguez again. It's headed away. out as far as Barami, who will try a shot. I knew he would, from about 30 yards out. Going nowhere really, scuffed it in the end, and Costa Rica picked up possession, but Barami comes across to try and win it again, then he goes to ground, but the throw on the far side is Costa Rica's, and Oviedo's looking to take it quickly. They just try to take advantage of the fact that Switzerland aren't fully organised at the back, and the back heel then, I'm afraid, from Brian Ruiz comes to nothing. And we've almost had a minute of time added on by our referee, Clément Turpin of France. Ball chipped forward here for Costa Rica to try and chase, and Campbell wins it inside the centre circle, but that's enough for the first half. And it was a half that was dominated early on by Costa Rica. Had it not been for 3 or 4 wonderful saves from Jan Sommer, Switzerland could have been in real trouble here, but Costa Rica failed to take their chances. They hit the woodwork, and in the end it took a goal from Jamili on 31 minutes after the knockdown that was delivered by Mbolo, and that goal separates the two sides at half-time, and it means right now Switzerland are on their way into the last 16. It's half-time in Nizhny Novgorod, and it's Switzerland 1, Costa Rica 0. Yeah, thanks very much, chaps. Back out for the second half. As things stand, it looks like no changes for either side. I think Switzerland will probably just be thankful that they've got the lead after an opening 20 minutes where they were under a real barrage from the Costa Rican side. And we're almost ready to go. I think we're just waiting for our referee. Let's run you through the two teams. Star of the first half, Jan Sommer in goal for Switzerland. Rodriguez, Akanji, Shah and Lichtsteiner across the back. Xhaka and Barami in midfield, and Bolo, Jamili the goal scorer, and Shaqiri supporting Gavranovic, who leads the line. As for Costa Rica, Navas is in goal, Acosta, Gonzalez and Waston across the back. Gamboa, Borges, Guzman and Oviedo in midfield, with Colindres, Campbell and Ruiz up front for Costa Rica in Nizhny Novgorod, where we've got our first free kick of the second half, which is going to be taken by Switzerland, and it's Colindres who's furious with the referee for the award of that free kick, and it will be taken from 10 yards outside the Swiss penalty area, and it's Shah who will bring it forward. He'll find Xhaka to the left hand side for Mbolo. Remember, the Swiss captain Lichtsteiner booked in the first half, and he misses the last 16 tie, whoever that will be against, and as things stand it would be against Sweden on July the 3rd in St. Petersburg. Shaqiri's foul by Oviedo. That's going to be a free kick about 35 yards out from the Costa Rican goal on the right hand side, and Shaqiri, I think, complaining he's taking a little bit of a kick in here, and that's exactly what Oviedo did there. Yeah, well, when you got that much trickery, we see it happen to Messi, the best players, don't we? When you can glide past players so easily, players seem to think they can get away with just bringing you down all the time. This is when the referee sometimes has to step in when it's so persistent. Shaqiri needs to deal with things like that as a talented player that he is. Here's the free kick for Switzerland then, 90 seconds into the second half, and it's going to be Shaqiri because it suits that left foot swinger of his, and Waston gets the header away as far as Colindres, and then it's lifted forward to Joel Campbell down this left hand side. Campbell tries to keep it in and has got the pace to trouble Rodriguez, but Rodriguez with an outstretched left boot puts the ball out of play, and it will be a throw in on this left hand side for Costa Rica, and it's taken short by Campbell to Colindres, and between the two of them they keep the ball by the corner flag. Barami's across, as is Lichtsteiner, and they then concede the corner down the left hand side for Costa Rica. It was better defending though, wasn't it, there from Rodriguez? Didn't let Campbell get on the ball like the first half, get turned, give him the opportunity to run at him. Rodriguez was right into him, stopping him turning. Better from the Swiss defence. Here's the corner on the left hand side for Costa Rica. Swung towards that back post where there's a decent header away that time by Granit Xhaka, who was doing the covering. Ball back in towards the edge of the penalty area. Waston lets it run, and the outside of the left boot of Campbell from 12 yards. He slices his shot well wide of Sommer's goal. It's a good chance, from Campbell. Comes across him, just lands on his favoured left side. If it comes through a crowd of bodies, and he's got free hit there on the half volley. Criminal not to be hitting the target there from Campbell. Waston's on his knees and just ducks under it, doesn't he? It's he just wanted to let it run for Campbell.
It's a decent chance, I have to say. First 3 minutes of the second half, that's what you want as a striker.
Well, nothing doing so far then for Costa Rica in this game, or actually when it comes to goals in this World Cup. We are 3 minutes into the second half of their third game, and they've yet to trouble the scorers. In fact, all their shots against Brazil came in the opening 15 minutes, which is not too dissimilar to what happened in the opening 15-20 minutes here. A bombardment that delivered nothing, and then all of a sudden they find themselves behind in the game. Here's a chance for Rodriguez on the half volley with an absolute screamer that's not far away, just over the top of the crossbar of Keylor Navas. Rodriguez let it bounce twice, and then he hit it with the outside of his left boot, and it's probably about a yard or so over the top of the bar.
Great strike from Rodriguez. I always felt though it was rising, but hit with ferocious power.
Sort of thing you do when you're playing at the park with your mates, really, isn't it? Having a go like that. Couple of bounces and boom. He's got some left foot on it.
Some hit, just rising, I felt all the while.
4 minutes gone in the second half. It's still Switzerland leading by a goal to nil. The Spartak Stadium in Moscow is where Serbia are taking on Brazil tonight, and Brazil lead by a goal to nil. So it's Brazil and Switzerland right now who will be contesting the last 16 of this World Cup. And of course, already today, Germany eliminated, Mexico and Sweden through. Sweden as group winners, probably the most unlikeliest group winners of them all. The Mexicans were in pole position today, but beaten by 3 goals to nil. But they've got into the round of 16 again. It's that 5th game that Mexico struggle to get to. And of course, they will play the winner of this group, which as it stands right now would be Brazil. Here's a charge forward down the left-hand side, just trying to make some headway. David Guzman, who's been probably the quietest of the Costa Rica players during this game. Throw in to be taken by Oviedo, who's midway inside the Swiss half. He gets it into Colindres, who chips the ball into the penalty area, but no one's in there really attacking. Campbell was the only player forward, and it's out for what will be a goal kick. 5 minutes gone in the second half. Here on TalkSport 2, it's Switzerland 1, Costa Rica 0. Sommer, who was the star of the opening 45 minutes for Switzerland, apparently he's a bit of a good cook and has got his own cooking blog as well, which I was fascinated to read earlier. He certainly cooked up some decent saves in that opening half. You knew that was coming, didn't you?
Certainly has, yeah.
On halfway, it was a bit of a stinker, really. Here in the middle of the park is Jamili, the goal scorer, to Mbolo. Decent foot in to intervene that time, and it needed to be Gonzalez, because Mbolo just had the pace, and from a level starting position, looked like he was going to get the better of him. But in the end, he got there first.
Yeah, he looked sharp there. Gonzalez got back and got a toe poke out for a Swiss corner, but Gonzalez did well there with certainly the pace of Mbola.
On that left-hand side, this will be delivered by that in-swinging or the out-swinging boot of Rodriguez, and it comes to Mbolo inside the penalty area and then breaks away again, and Gonzalez has kept Rodriguez, should I say, has kept it in here, and it has to be hacked around the left-hand side. And now there's a chance for a counter. Campbell surely was offside, where the flag is facing down and being pushed down by the referee's assistant on the far side. I thought Campbell looked a fair distance offside, and you were giving me that flag sign.
Yeah, I just think maybe the linesman thought the ball was going to run through to Sommer in the Swiss goal. That's why he didn't put his flag up, but he's certainly closer than what the line anticipated.
Oh, here's Mbolo in the penalty area from a tight angle. He forces Navas to make a save. It was almost at the goal line as he pulled it back, but Navas blocks it out, and Oviedo will clear up this left-hand touchline. And Navas called into action once more. Decent start to the second half, particularly here from Brel Mbolo.
Yeah, and what's impressed me about Mbolo as well is that he's already got up really well from a Swiss corner. He's really got a really good leap for somebody who's not the tallest. He played a huge role in the goal earlier on for Goranovic. Obviously Lichtstein and Mbolo got up on the back stick, headed it back across for the Swiss goal. Got a hell of a leap on it for someone who's not that tall.
No, he is. He's just 21 years of age, the Schalke man. 20 million they paid for him. They stole a march on a few others who were, it was thought, going to be waiting until after the World Cup to see how he performed. He's a decent player, though. Now back on that right-hand side, picking up possession once more is Gonzalez for Costa Rica. He's a big friend of Roger Federer's, apparently. They are great mates, so it would seem. A Swiss legend, probably the greatest Swiss sportsman of all time, you would probably argue. 8 minutes gone in the second half. Switzerland 1, Costa Rica 0. On TalkSport 2, left-footed ball out wide to this near touchline, trying to find the run that had been made by Oviedo, who then takes the ball down nicely. Played 30-odd games for Sunderland, so most Oviedo's been fit enough to play for some time last season. Couldn't help them, of course, and they ended up getting relegated as Guzman hits one after the ball hit the referee from 25 yards. And now they're scampering forward again here. Left edge of the right edge of the penalty area with Campbell. Campbell with the ball at feet, chips that one through, manages to find Colindres, gets it down to Oviedo on the half volley. Always rising and always over the top of the bar.
That's good play from Costa Rica. It's really, really good play. It's dinked to the back post from Campbell. Colindres it is, who heads it down into Oviedo's path. Just couldn't quite get his foot above the ball. Heads it over the bar, but a decent opportunity there for Costa Rica to equalise.
Costa Rican fans with their heads in their hands around the stadium here in Nizhny Novgorod. Almost 10 minutes gone in the second half, and probably still desperately trying to work out how they're behind in this game. Switzerland take this one short. Sonna happy to play around with it at the back and manages to then find Granit Xhaka out wide to the left-hand side. Akanji's there, closed down by Campbell. In the end they go back to Sonna, who has to take a touch and is then closed down by Colindres and by Ruiz. His ball up towards halfway, only as far as Waston, who's fouled in the process by Xherdan Shaqiri, and it's going to be a free kick here for Costa Rica. And 15 yards inside the Switzerland half. Taken quickly, shuffled by Borges out wide to the right hand side. Here's Gamboa into the feet of Campbell in the penalty area. Campbell between two defenders. Campbell does well and wins his side the corner.
Yeah, but on a real go, I have to say Costa Rica, they've come out with again, you know, that intent to try and get back into the game. Created one or two decent opportunities in the first 10 minutes of the second half.
Campbell swings that one over. Waston with a header! And it's 1-1! Costa Rica have their goal from the edge of the 6-yard box. And it's the man who come in, Kendall Waston. It's his goal that got them to the World Cup finals. And it's his goal that is their first in Russia 2018. Waston on target. Elementary, I would say. Switzerland 1, Costa Rica 1.
Yeah, the marking from the Swiss is all over the shop. Poor marking. It's Campbell who just whips the ball in from the right hand side, an in-swinger. Watson on his own, free header from 8 or 9 yards out, and he bullets it in to the far corner. Campbell with the corner, totally unmarked. Watson, and it's a great header. He gets up really well.
As a big centre forward, you can appreciate that header,
absolutely. Brushes the centre half out of the way.
He does. He absolutely.
And it's a great header.
He wipes out Akanji, doesn't he?
Akanji just will not be in there. I think he gets his feet muddled up a little bit as well, Akanji. But take nothing away from the header. And it's only what Costa Rica deserve, I have to say that.
It's a third international goal for Kendall Waston. And it's 1-1 here. And they've come out at the start of the second half and they've had a real go. They do only need a draw though, Switzerland, so it doesn't change anything for them at this moment in time. One apiece, and obviously the fact that Brazil are beating Serbia as well, there is still a bit of wiggle room for them in this group. 12 minutes gone in the second half on TalkSport 2. Switzerland 1, Costa Rica 1. Xhaka out wide to the left hand side. He finds Rodriguez, who chips the ball down the line, chased after by Gavranovic, who we've seen very little from in this second half. And the ball's overrun him, and also he was offside, so it'll be a free kick for Costa Rica midway inside their own half. Listen to the noise inside the stadium. They had failed to score in 4 of their last 5 matches at the finals, and actually they'd failed to score in their last 3 matches all in all. They've not been in particularly good form coming to these finals, but they're delivering. They lost all 3 games back in 2006. The back-to-back defeats they suffered in these group stages were hurting, because it's the first time they've suffered back-to-back defeats in 12 years. But they're trying to put it right tonight. and send their fans home happy. And well, boy, there's been an explosion of noise and colour around the Nizhny Novgorod stadium as Costa Rica have got themselves level, and boy, are they having a party.
They'll be enjoying it tonight.
It's just at the sight of a goal, and a terrific header it was too. And now actually, obviously, you can see the supporters showing each other their social media videos and realising that actually they've made fools of themselves, but they won't mind. And he looks almost quite tearful, Oscar Ramirez. He replaced Paulo Wanchop in charge of this Costa Rican side. He was Paulo's assistant for 2 weeks before, I think, the mutiny happened. Paulo got rid of some of the old guard and was trying to bring the youngsters through, but it wasn't really working for Costa Rica in terms of qualification and stuff. Hence why Ramirez got the gig.
Well, I don't think they've had a bad tournament, I have to say. You know, they were beaten by 1-0 by Serbia. They held Brazil into injury time, and they're back in the game tonight. So, okay, they'll take nothing from it, in terms of qualification. But I think they have to be buoyed by some of the performances that they put up on show.
I think we're going to see Dennis Zakaria entering the fray here in place of Valon Barami. Zakaria, who was a target for Liverpool and Arsenal last season, instead he went to Borussia Mönchengladbach. And he made a couple of starts in World Cup qualifying. He's been likened to a Pogba and of the era, but then aren't they all? Any kind of rangy, stocky built central midfielder is likened to of the era in particular, but there aren't many who quite come up to scratch.
I was lucky to play with Patrick for a couple of seasons at Arsenal, and he became a monster of a player. He had everything: touch, size, great ability, could get around the pitch. So that's for him to be put in the same breath as Vieira is a huge compliment.
And Barami is the player, as I say, that's departed, and Zakaria enters the fray. Switzerland 1, Costa Rica 1, an hour gone. Decent game in Nizhny Novgorod as it's forward from the centre by Shah, picked up by Mbolo, then Shaqiri just tries to put that through to Gavranovic, who can't quite get there. Now it's a first touch of the game from Dennis Zakaria, and it's into Mbolo in the middle of the park, but he's just muscled out of it that time. But working hard to win the ball back was Lichtsteiner, and out wide on the left hand side is Ricardo Rodriguez. Rodriguez goes back in field, where it's picked up by Zakaria again. He's 21 years of age, his 12th international cap, and he's running forward down that left hand side, but he's run into Christian Gamboa, who has gone safety first, and I think probably almost said have it as he launched it forward. All the way through to Sonner, away to our left-hand side. Into the last 30 minutes of the game on TalkSport 2. Switzerland 1, Costa Rica 1. It's your home of the 2018 World Cup in Russia. Every single game of the 64 live across the TalkSport network for you tomorrow afternoon. Very much looking forward to being alongside Mick McCarthy for Senegal against Colombia on TalkSport. That's a 3 o'clock kickoff. At the same time, a game between Japan and Poland will be kicking off here on TalkSport 2. And then tomorrow evening, of course, it's England against Belgium over on TalkSport. And then here on TalkSport 2, it's Tunisia versus Panama. John Hartson in your commentary team for that one tomorrow evening. They have possession on halfway here, Switzerland. And it's short with Shah again, looking just to take the sting out of the kind of impetus that Costa Rica had built up prior to the goal. And just slow the game down a little and actually play it more at their tempo again. It's out wide to Mbolo. Here's Rodriguez off the angle of the box down the left-hand side. Heads towards the byline, and he's tracked all the way this time by Johnny Acosta. And it's out of play for a throw, and the noise continuing from the Costa Rica support.
Yeah, both teams now looking to just win this game. Can one of them do enough, produce a little bit of magic just to go and nick the game?
Throwing on that far side for Switzerland, still working it round the edge of the Costa Rican penalty area. Down the line to Mbolo. Gamboa's there with him, does really well to work it to Rodriguez. Then Gamboa picks up the loose ball. Borges out wide to the right hand side. A little bit of control and then cut in field from Brian Ruiz. And then it's forward by Gamboa, direct this time through the middle. And nicely picked up by Colin Drees, but the substitute Zakaria just shows what he's been brought on for as he nips in and wins possession. But now they have it back with Ruiz forward. Colindres out wide to the left hand side is Guzman. Guzman at the byline, keeps the ball in. He's closed down immediately by Lichtsteiner. And the throw in on this near side is Switzerland's 2 or 3 yards from the corner flag after decent work that time by the Swiss goal scorer Jamuni.
Yeah, decent break again from Costa Rica. You just think now maybe whether Switzerland will start getting a little bit cautious, realising that the threat that Costa Rica pose, and they might just drop deeper and deeper and maybe invite more pressure just because of the nerves might just be creeping in for the Swiss.
Borges tries a shot from probably about 35 yards that fizzes over the top of the bar, never really troubling Sommer away to our left hand side. A reminder at the Spartak Stadium in Moscow, it is Serbia 0, Brazil 1 as things stand right now. It means Brazil top the group, Switzerland comes second, Serbia third, and Costa Rica, who we already know are going home, in 4th spot. They've had 12 shots at goal in this game so far, Costa Rica. They've certainly made Sommer work throughout this game, and one apiece feels a bit more of a fairer scoreline than when the Swiss had the advantage. Ruiz short, infield inside the centre circle is Guzman. Out wide to the left hand side where he picks out the goal scorer Waston. Wonderful thumping header. Unstoppable, you would say. To the right goes Guzman again. Finds a Costa. Infield to Borges. This is good play from Costa Rica. Nice build-up work. Campbell is then thrown to the floor, he feels, by Akanji. The referee disagrees, and it's a throw on the far side to Costa Rica, 10 yards inside the Swiss half. Of course, the question is, what can Serbia do in that game against Brazil? There's a thought today that we may well lose Brazil and Germany all on the same day. Of course, the Germans eliminated this afternoon. And here, Switzerland and Brazil fighting with Serbia over the right to face Mexico and Sweden, who are the teams that have come out of Group F in the last 16. Picked up by Gonzalez, out wide to the right-hand side for Costa Rica. Ruiz gives it short to Borges. Borges into the feet of Ruiz again. Looks for some support, which comes in the form of Guzman. Ruiz, the captain, then pushing it down the right-hand side, but too much on it. Gamboa's got pace, but no chance of him closing that one down.
No, I think Ruiz there, I think Ruiz has done very well tonight. He's got up close as he can to Campbell in support, along with Colindres. And as you said, Adam, in the first half they could have been out to sight, but Sommer was excellent for Switzerland, keeping Switzerland in the game. But Costa Rica, I believe, can be proud of the tournament that they've had, although they'll finish bottom.
Here's Oviedo on this left-hand side. He feels like he's been around for a while, Oviedo, just 28 years of age, his 49th cap today. And a lot of injuries, of course, throughout his career. He was at Everton as well as his time more recently at Sunderland, where he was picked up by David Moyes and kept on by Chris Coleman throughout the campaign.
Yeah, he plays on that left wing back, good engine, gets up and down, poses a threat going forward.
Colindres has it. Oviedo is forward now inside the box, pulls the ball back across, and it has to be cleared by Shah from the edge of the 6-yard box, and it's out for a throw on this near side for Costa Rica.
Like that there, Oviedo running in, darting in behind the Swiss defence, played in by Colindres, looking to put the ball in the Swiss box.
Lichtsteiner has conceded another throw right by the corner flag on this left-hand side for Costa Rica, approaching the midway point of the second half here on TalkSport 2. Another change coming for Switzerland imminently. Josip Glimic is coming on, and yet another change for the Swiss as they just try and, I think, desperately try and find a forward who's going to pose a real threat for them, because again today Gavranovic has offered very little. They obviously chose to leave out Seferovic, who started in the game against Serbia. Still searching for someone who is going to deliver for them, you feel, time and time again. And there's a goal in the game at the Spartak Stadium in Moscow, and it's a second goal for Brazil, and that should just about shut that one down then. Brazil leading by 2-0 from a corner as well. Generally how you expect Brazil to score some of their goals. I think Thiago Silva's on target for Brazil, and they lead by 2 goals to 0. Here, crossing towards the back post, and Campbell goes up for it, but it's headed out by Ricardo Rodriguez. And on our monitors we see it's a thumping header from Silva. Not dissimilar to that of Waston's, really.
Attacks a near post, gets across his man, gets up well and unmarked, makes a clever run in that near post and heads it powerfully into the back of the Serbian net.
All these centre-halves getting up and scoring goals. Gavranovic is off here, and it is Drimic that comes on. With his bleach blonde hair. He's got some defending to do first here, though, because it's a corner for Costa Rica on the right-hand side. It'll be delivered across by Campbell. And will this be take 2 from Waston? I'm sure this time Akanji might keep a closer eye on him as Campbell does swing that one. Oh, the Borges goes up for it and it evades them all. Oviedo was there. I think Jan Sommer is claiming that he was fouled in the end. I think he just ran into his own player, actually. Yeah. Not too sure what he was moaning about.
I'm just not sure goalkeepers, they can react like that. They almost take a risk that the referee are going to give a foul against them, but it is a risk. Just play to the whistle.
It was almost a disaster for them there, but not quite. We have played almost 70 minutes on TalkSport 2. Switzerland 1, Costa Rica 1.
That almost settles everything now, doesn't it? Brazil winning that game. Well, Switzerland can afford to lose now and go through, can't they?
Yeah, Brazil being 2 up. Serbia had to deliver in order to make it possible for Switzerland to be knocked out, and they haven't done it. Plenty of time, you never know. Although you don't expect a Brazilian side to capitulate from 2-0, really. Maybe this is the start of Brazil just finding their feet a little bit in this tournament. I think everyone probably has got a spring in their step after the departure of Germany today. I think any time you see one of the big boys go, it just gives you that little lift, doesn't
Giving them a little bit of a lift, yeah, because Germany normally so strong, but they've been very disappointing in this tournament. Lost 2 out of the 3 group games.
Slowly but surely, they whistle down. By this time tomorrow night, we'll be down to the final 16 for the 2018 World Cup in Russia. And then the fun of the knockout game starts on Saturday. Every game, of course, live across the TalkSport network throughout the whole tournament. All 64 of them for you. Xhaka picks that up in the middle of the park. Drives forward from the edge of the centre circle. Gets it into Drimic, who tries the shot. It's deflected up in the air and easily gathered by Navas inside his 6-yard area. 19 minutes remaining here on TalkSport 2. It's Switzerland 1, Costa Rica 1. Question now, though, is can Costa Rica finish this off in style and finish their tournament in style as that ball forward to Colin Dres. He's penalised for the foul on Lichtsteiner.
Well, he might see a few gaps now. He might see a few gaps, just open up a little bit of tiredness. Maybe Costa Rica could get in behind the Swiss defence and get that really important winner for them.
Well, it would be good to see Costa Rica depart in some style, that's for sure, especially with Switzerland just about secured their place in the last 16 already. So as things stand with that win for Brazil, it means they will take on Sweden. Switzerland-Sweden, that will be on July the 3rd in St. Petersburg. What that does mean as well, as group winners, Brazil will then take on Mexico in Samara on July the 2nd. That promises to be a game and a half, that one, that's for sure. Does also mean, as group winners, the impact that would have on heading into half of the draw in the quarter-finals, where they could potentially take on England. Were England to get that far, of course. If England win the group, and there's no doubt about it, but if things stay as they are, and if both were to win their last 16 games, it would be England-Brazil in the quarter-finals of the World Cup. All of a sudden finishing second seems like a nice idea. Out wide to the left-hand side is Ricardo Rodriguez with the ball in, and it's nodded down by Oviedo into the arms of Keylor Navas away to our right-hand side.
I think on the previous 2 major tournaments, I think England, just be happy to get through. I would think, don't concentrate too much on who you're going to play. You're through. just keep it going. My dad always said to me, stay humble, John, stay humble.
And you have. Gareth Southgate has said, I'm not plotting a route, I'm not thinking about that.
Correct.
It's about winning games of football.
It is, and international games, as I alluded to earlier, it's not easy to win. There's been, smaller nations not expected to produce the performances in particular this World Cup, and they have. So you need to respect every team.
As they say, if you want to win it, you've got to beat them all.
Beat them all.
Not all of them, because you can find your way through some of them, but you're going to come up against quality teams.
Yeah.
Shaqiri's fouled on halfway here. 16 and a half minutes left of this game. Switzerland won, Costa Rica won on TalkSport 2. Not the first time Shaqiri's had a bit of a kick in. This time it's from Oviedo, and he holds his arms out.
He's used to it, isn't he? He's used to it. You see Lionel Messi the same now. He gets kicked, he gets up, he doesn't even complain now. He's almost used to it.
Vladimir Petkovic, the Croatian in charge of the Swiss side, also saying to the referee, come on, because Oviedo's still not been booked for any of those challenges. Only booking of the game went to Stefan Lichtsteiner, and it means he misses out on the last 16 game for Switzerland.
That's a little bit of a blow. I don't think Lichtsteiner, with his experience, he didn't really need to pick up a yellow card tonight, knowing that if he had a yellow he would miss the next one.
Terrific run there by Gamboa down the right hand side. And talking of yellow cards, there's another one. This time that's come out for Dennis Zakaria. He was tracking all the way on Gamboa, and in the end with a little tug back, and as is often the case, that produces a yellow card from the referee. First of the tournament for Zakaria, so he's okay for next time round. With Lichtsteiner not being available for Switzerland, interesting thought process that we'll have to go through. I'd have thought maybe you'd think about taking him off for the last quarter of an hour of this game, just to get his replacement in and maybe prepared for what will be a last 16 game.
Well, you could probably say the same for Shaqiri as well, because he's been kicked up in the air 3 or 4 times in the second half, and he's just wondering, maybe only takes somebody to kick him in the wrong area. All of a sudden he gets that bruising, keeps him out. You've got to try and protect your best players at this stage.
Well, Nico Elvedi may well be the man who replaces Lichtsteiner. He can play as a right centre-back or a right back. Another German player, in the sense that he plays in the Bundesliga for Borussia Mönchengladbach, so he could well be the one who comes into the starting 11 for Switzerland in the absence of Lichtsteiner. There's that man Shaqiri again on the ball. That familiar swagger and gait as he just starts to think about running with the ball at feet. And a little apology for Lichtsteiner for not playing the ball out to the right hand side. Instead he went to the left, and it's picked up here in the middle by the substitute Dennis Zakaria. To Shaqiri again. Lichtsteiner on the right hand side, forward into the feet this time, and coming short of Josip Drmic. Once more with Shaqiri, left again, where it's controlled by Jacques. Out wide to that left hand side, where Rodriguez is in an advanced position here at the edge of the box. Cuts inside on his right foot, dinks that one over. Free header for Mbolo, who, rather than going for goal, which to me from about 7 yards out would have been the easier option, he again tries one of his little knockdowns across the box.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I'm surprised Mbolo never really headed for goal there. Very unselfish from him, but I thought the better option was to head for goal. He wasn't that far out.
Well, it's an interesting decision from Mbolo. Looked easier to try and score himself, as that ball was just swung over it. Easily beat the defender. A little swivel and header on goal would probably have done the job. But now on the attack again, Shaqiri to Mbolo again on the right hand side. This time he gets a crossover. Header against the bar. Drmic with a terrific header off the angle of the post and bar, and cannons back out, and the ball's out of play.
Yeah, Switzerland now, this is what they've got. They have got that threat. It's Shaqiri into Mbolo, great ball across, and Drmic, good header, hits the angle of the post on the cross, the post on the bar, sorry. Really good move from Switzerland again.
12 minutes remaining. one apiece. 2-0 to Brazil in Moscow. So it's as you were in this group with Brazil winning it. Shaqiri launches it over. Switzerland will come second. Oh, now a chance maybe for Costa Rica to break here. Is Campbell, he's got 3 round him. He just manages to get away that time from Zakaria, and he's still going inside the penalty area. Campbell, oh, he's still going, but he just runs into some legs, but he's kept the ball at the edge of the penalty area, and then he manages to just push it out to the right-hand side. And now the right-footed drive is coming in from Borges, and it's blocked again by Sommer. And then there's a block in the penalty area as trying to get on the end of the rebound was Colindres. He's blocked off though, and Costa Rica so unlucky, and it stays 1-1.
Because Borges eventually with the shot. Sommer does well, but I have to say Joel Campbell full of running, looking to take players on, and I think Xhaka slides in, and I'm just wondering, Campbell, if there's any contact go down and he stays on his feet. But Xhaka certainly took a chance with that defensive bit of play there.
Strong old body is Joel Campbell. It's been an injury-ravaged body throughout the season at Real Betis, on loan again from Arsenal. Did score, of course, back in that 2014 World Cup. Capped 79 today. Just the 15 goals, though, for the big man. I think he'd have probably liked a greater return than that throughout his time playing for his national side. Just over 10 minutes remaining. Switzerland 1, Costa Rica 1. Been a really good game of football. Ebbed and flowed, and again, like Switzerland against Serbia, passages of play where each team has just dominated. And at the moment we're having another one where it's a bit end-to-end this time round, actually. Down the right-hand side, the scorer of the first goal of the game, Jamili, tries to win the ball while laying on the floor, and in the end the referee intervenes. And where's he given this free kick? And he's given it the way of Switzerland, who are about to make a change. And we're going to see Michael Lang come on, the only Swiss-based player in the 23-man squad for Switzerland. Lang will enter the fray. Name may ring a bell, plays for Basel, scored against Manchester United and Manchester City in the Champions League last season, and he's coming on to replace Xherdan Shaqiri, who doesn't look too happy about it, but I think he's probably worth wrapping in cotton wool ahead of the last 60.
Of course he shouldn't be too despondent about coming off. He's done ever so well tonight. He's been effective, he's shown his quality, but he's been kicked a lot in that second half, so he's coming off for his own good. They're into the knockout stages, he should be happy.
This isn't a throwback to the past. Rodney Wallace is coming on to replace Colindres for Costa Rica. Wallace enters the fray. Those of you who are kind of old like me will remember the Wallace brothers from the 1980s, Rodney and Danny. Yeah. But it's a different Rodney this time who comes on. He plays for New York City. He was injured for the 2014 World Cup, so he's getting a run out today for Costa Rica with 9 minutes remaining. Here again is Lang for Switzerland. He's scored 10 goals for Basel throughout the season. He's had a licence with them to get a little further forward. Doesn't have that in his Swiss side when he does enter the fray. Although he's replaced Shaqiri, he's playing a little deeper than that. Out wide on this right-hand side at this moment. So that ball is launched forward. Lichtsteiner looked like he's just come off the near touchline, which he has. Costa Rica have it though. Ruiz just tries to help it into the path on the right-hand side of the marauding. I think it was Guzman getting forward, or was it Borges? It was Borges that time. Here is Rodriguez on the far side for Switzerland. Nice bit of play down the line, teaming up with Josip Viric, and then Rodriguez is still going here. He's hacked down in the end, I think, by Gamboa. Oh, and there's a little shove there from Rodriguez, and that's going to get him into a little bit of trouble, you feel. Looked a little frustrated. A little bit of hacking going on, and then just shoved his arm out, but the referee just lets it go. It's a lovely pass by Guzman into Campbell now. Campbell picking it up that time from the run of Borges, who's certainly trying to get further forward in this second half, but Campbell then just loses possession, and the yellow card is out, and that's another booking for Switzerland, and this time it's a booking for Fabian Schär, and Fabian Schär If that is him that's got in the booking, it is. He also misses the last 16 games. It's a second yellow card for Shah.
So frustrating for the Swiss management team. That's two of what's your strongest defenders out of the back four.
Your right side of your defence has just been pulled apart by 2 yellow cards. And why did he need to get that card?
It's just incompetent. It's just so naive. There's really no need for it. Both experienced players.
Well,
it just would have put a bit of a damper on the night for them.
Vladimir Petkovic is looking furious, and you can understand why. So Lichtsteiner and Shah, the right-hand side of his defence, the right back and the right-sided centre-half, will both miss that last 16 tie, probably against Sweden, having picked up 2 bookings in this World Cup.
But Shah, for me, the more frustrating of the two. We got, 7 minutes on the clock. Costa Rica are going nowhere. They're in the Costa Rican half, and he just has a little pull of a Costa Rican shirt, and he goes in the book for absolutely nothing.
Here's Campbell on the turn towards the edge of the penalty area, left-footed ball, lovely to the edge of the box. Borges is there, lifts that one in, and trying to get it on the header was Campbell. We also saw the arrival of the substitute Wallace, and I think it was Wallace who committed the foul inside the penalty area on Lichtsteiner, and it's going to be a free kick for Switzerland.
Oh, Lichtsteiner there, he takes one for the team. It's a long ball. Lichtsteiner, he's on the back stick. Oh, he comes in, Wallace comes in, and he collides, the heads come together. Lichtsteiner really brave, but you can see his frustration. He's on the ground and he's so frustrated. But anyway, he misses the next game so he can have a bit of a rest.
I was going to say, that's going to give him a little bit of a headache, you would feel.
Shaking his head as if to say, what more have I got to take here?
Last 5 minutes or just over here on TalkSport 2. Switzerland 1, Costa Rica 1. A reminder, it's Serbia 0, Brazil 2. The Spartak Stadium in Moscow, meaning Brazil will top the group. Switzerland will come second. So Brazil will face Mexico in Samara on July the 2nd at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then Switzerland will face Sweden on July the 3rd in St. Petersburg. But they'll do it without Shah and without Lichtsteiner, who are banned from the next game, having accumulated 2 yellow cards in this 2018 World Cup. We may well see Johan Giroud appear. Former Arsenal man. He could well be one of the replacement centre-halves that could come in for Shah, maybe. A couple of options there for Vladimir Petkovic, who's not going to be a happy man, that's for sure.
It's just a problem that he's got to deal with that he probably really didn't expect, really didn't want.
Well, you don't need it, particularly in the instance of Shah, as you say. I mean,
as you said, the whole right side of your back four, 2 very experienced players, and there you go. As I said, it would have put a slight dampener on events. But saying that, Switzerland done ever so well to get through in a group with Serbia, Brazil in it. They'll be delighted to have gone through to the last 16.
Almost 150 caps between them, those two, and you're just ripping that out the side. Although if they were to go for someone like Giroud, he's had 74 caps, but he's passed his best.
They'll be disappointed themselves as well, when they go home tonight and they look themselves in the mirror, they'll think, well, did I really have to make that challenge, Did I really have to get myself booked and cost my team in the next round?
Do they do that, or do they go, why did the referee have to book me?
It all depends how strong the challenge was, really. If they feel a bit hard done by with the tackles that they've been carded for, then yes. But other than that, I think they were both bookings. I think they both deserved a booking.
Well, particularly in Shah, once Campbell had got away, he did have a little kick out as well. He was nowhere near making contact, but that may well have just added to the referee's reasoning behind the yellow cards. 3.5 minutes to go here on TalkSport 2. Switzerland 1, Costa Rica 1. They have possession inside their own half again, and the boos are coming from Costa Rica because Switzerland happy to keep the ball in their own half, and I think the Costa Ricans want attacking football. Away down the right-hand side, decent ball into the penalty area, and a goal for Switzerland! And it's a finish from the substitute. Josip Drinic into the bottom corner. And Switzerland have stolen this one at the depth. It was a decent run down the right-hand side by Denis Zakaria. And his ball into the box is deliciously finished by the Borussia Mönchengladbach forward. And Switzerland have conjured up a victory here. They lead Costa Rica in the final minutes by 2-1.
Yeah, it's a good goal. It's a really good goal from Switzerland. It's Zakaria down the right-hand side. Decides he gets his head up, he crosses it first time into the box, and Dermich comes in with his right foot. Really nice, clever side foot to Navas, his left-hand post. Hit with great precision. Really nice finish from Dermich. A finish of a top striker in form.
He is in form as well. He scored 4 goals in his last 6 games at the end of the Bundesliga season, so he just found form at the right time, having had a difficult period. He's into double figures internationally as well, and Vladimir Petkovic is going to walk away with another victory here for Switzerland. They are on a terrific run at this moment in time, there's no doubt about it. This will be 9 games without defeating internationals. They will have lost one of their last 25.
And that's the form you want going into the last... here we go.
Oh, here's Brian Ruiz in the box. He tries to turn. Oh, he's given the penalty. Has he given the penalty? I think Waston has grabbed the referee while he was about to point to the spot after there was a foul on Ruiz, and he has given the penalty anyway, but he's booked Waston at the same time for having grabbed his shoulder. And the challenge inside the box from Rodriguez on Brian Ruiz, and it's a penalty for Costa Rica.
Is it not a sending off as well?
Well,
because he's 10 yards out.
Let's see what the referee... He's only given the yellow card. It's the only thing we've seen come out. The flick on from Waston, he's offside.
Ruiz is offside.
As long as that's come off Waston, he's offside. The referee is marking down the yellow card. Now he's got his finger to his ear, which means one would assume this is being reviewed by Felix Weyer, the German, when it comes to this VAR call. And the key to this is who has the final touch on that flick. Because definitely Brian Ruiz is in an offside position.
Yeah, so if it's the Swiss defender, he lets it go. Brian Ruiz there gets a touch. I think it's Lang. Lang brings Ruiz down to here. You can just see Lang there. That one makes no attempt. Rodriguez.
I'm more concerned about whether it's offside or not. Because in that case, whether it's a penalty or not is all irrelevant, and it's offside. That's what he's been told. And the hand in the air, and he points to the ground to say that is no penalty. VAR's done its job. They've deemed that Ruiz was offside when he received that ball.
It's so close, and this is when VAR is fantastic. When it is so tight, the referee initially calls for the penalty, he takes it back, and then you realise Ruiz is just crept offside, and the correct decision is deemed now. That's when VAR is fantastic.
Well, we saw it earlier today in the game between South Korea and Germany. There was a thought that maybe the South Korea opening goal was offside, but once VAR had a look, they established that the touch through had come from Toni Kroos, and actually it was a perfectly good goal. They're making some changes here, Costa Rica. We're into 4 minutes of added time at the end of this game. We've just seen Randall Azafeifi come on, and I think we're about to see another change as well. Guzman is the player that's departed, so into added time, Switzerland leading by 2-1. It is Guzman that's gone off, and it is Azafeifi that's come on. Up to halfway, Costa Rica have possession again, and it's with Wallace now, over down this left-hand side, and he's on a little bit of a charge on this near side, towards the edge of the penalty area, trying to get inside the box. Now he goes down wanting a penalty, and a penalty's given again, for the second time in this game. The foul on Joe Campbell. Zakaria's already been booked if he's made the foul. He could well be seeing a second yellow if the referee decides it, but he's pointed to the spot, and one way or another Costa Rica are getting a penalty in this game.
Well, Joe Campbell again just running powerful. He just shrugs off Zakaria twice, and Zakaria just leans on him, if you like, leans on him, pushes him away, and I've got to say I think that's a penalty. It's a little bit too physical. Campbell goes over, referee has no hesitation and points straight to the spot.
He certainly did, and I don't think VAR are even having a look at this one. 2 minutes into the 4 that have been added by the referee Clement Turpin, and a chance here for Costa Rica to score yet another goal. And interestingly enough, they've not conceded more than 1 goal in only one of their 13 World Cup games, Switzerland. They are tight at the back, they are very defensive, they do not concede two in a game, and yet Costa Rica could well be about to deliver that here. They've not scored more than one in any of their last 6 World Cup games. There's a final change for Costa Rica happening. Ian Smith is coming on. Yep, that is a Costa Rican name. He's got in as Gamboa's cover at right wing back following an injury. He's only made 4 appearances, none of them competitive until his appearance today. But it's going to be Brian Ruiz from 12 yards against Jan Sommer. Oh, and it's hit the crossbar, it's hit the back of Sommer, and it's gone in the back of the net. Would you believe it? Brian Ruiz, he struck it high, it comes off the bar, it hits the back of Jan Sommer and goes into the back of the net, and the Costa Ricans are going wild, and who can blame them? We are 3 minutes into added time, and they've got their second goal of this World Cup. It's Switzerland 2, Costa Rica 2.
Well, the penalty, Ruiz, he hits it, it hits the crossbar, comes down, in off the goalkeeper. You can see he's very unfortunate. But Ruiz it was with the penalty. But I have to say, I'm delighted for Costa Rica. I know Switzerland have drawn. They still go through. But I think it's all what Costa Rica deserves there. They definitely deserve something from this game.
It actually comes off the back of his head, doesn't it? Oh dear, oh dear.
Well, he's laughing so he can see the funnies. He knows that the team have qualified. It's last kick of the game, and I'm delighted for Costa Rica.
What a finale to this Group E game this evening. It's 2-2. And now here comes Switzerland. Maybe they do want to finish it off in style. It's Oviedo that has it. And it's back with Oviedo again on this near side. Ruiz will get the credit. I think that has to go down as an own goal, but I'm sure someone will intervene and sort that one out at some point. Here come Costa Rica again down the right-hand side, towards the edge of the penalty area. Just trying to slip the ball through to try and find the advancing run of Rodney Wallace, but they couldn't. And it's out for a throw.
It's interesting as well, the 2 penalties that Costa Rica have won is with Shah and Liechtenstein, knowing that they're on bookings as well. So
certainly was that charge by Joel Campbell down this left-hand side. The Swiss right, that ball's played forward, and Switzerland will have the goal kick. We've already had 5 minutes of added time at the end of the game here on TalkSport 2. Certainly bringing you plenty of drama today across this World Cup. Earlier on, of course, we brought you commentary on the game between Mexico and Sweden. Sweden 3-0 winners today. They are through as group winners from Group F, and they will take on Switzerland. And there is the final whistle. The referee says enough is enough, and there's a lovely hug between Vladimir Petkovic and Oscar Ramirez. Both of them are smiling. I'm not too sure what Petkovic has to smile about. Yes, his team are in the last 16, but he's missing 2 of his defensive stalwarts for the game against Sweden. Oscar Ramirez looks quite emotional. His team haven't scored in their first 2 fixtures here at the World Cup. They've put that right tonight, and it's finished here in Nizhny Novgorod. A thoroughly entertaining game, full of drama. It's Switzerland 2, Costa Rica 2.